Welcome to this week's episode of Art Wisdom with Chris and Kat. And this week, Kat, we're talking about finding your niche.
Very
So,
important.
very important, yeah. So I suppose the first thing we should explain is like what a niche is.
Mm.
And it's really, you may have it already. You probably got it already, but you just may not even know that you have it because it's what you love. It's like finding your identity as an artist, as a creative, and then using your voice, putting all of that out into the world as a package.
Yeah. And I think it's like what people know you as well. So, and like, yeah, it's like this whole like your niche is this like amalgamation of your identity, your purpose, your mission, your values, but also like what are you known for? And it can be firstly like with like your, your mission and like the concept behind your work, but it can also niche can just as much be your physical application and the way that you want to create the pieces. I mean, you can have a niche as being the space art person, but you might be the person that makes wire sculptures of rockets, or you might be the person, you might be niched into making pottery. There's some great pottery, or it might be painter or whatever. So there's like niches within niches.
Yeah, and you have a style of the way that you do it. So when
Mm,
somebody looks at your work, they will be able to identify that's a Kat Machin.
yes,
So you don't
that's
have
so
all a
true.
mismatch of all sorts of things, so people don't know what they're getting when they come.
Yeah, and I think the reason why it's important, because I think this often when I come to across Instagram profiles or anybody's artist profiles, it's like sometimes it can be quite confusing when someone's profile is a bit like a jumble sale. It's got bits of this and bits of that. And to be honest, it's absolutely fine to experiment when you're starting out. But the
It's
problem is
important too. Yeah, it's
it's
really
super
important.
important. But I think the challenge is if you never like settle on something, people don't know what they get. So like people are quite protective over what turns up in their news feeds, right? On social media or just like being involved in a group, they want to have some sort of level of control over the sort of content that appears to them. And if the content is all over and the content is confusing, they don't even know what it's about because there's no level of consistency. You'll find that it's very hard to build any sort of following, but also to consistently get the message out. Because the truth is that whatever cause is important, you can't really sum it up in however many characters you get. You need way more than that. So often it's like the most important part of your work most likely won't just be summed up in one image. You're gonna have to like build it almost like a story, and every art piece is a page of the book kind of thing. So
Yeah, because this is like the same as your branding, isn't it? It's your identity that you're sharing with people. But this experimenting thing, if you are at the beginning and you really don't know what you like, what you love just yet, then that's okay. That's just where you're at the moment, and experiment
yeah,
like crazy.
yeah,
And
until you find the thing that you're like, quite
yeah,
like this. Yeah.
it's that. Yeah, and you find your thing that you want to spend, you're happy to spend a lot of time talking about and doing.
Yeah, I think but just be aware. I think it's important to say that if you've not got any level of consistency, whether it's you can try different subject matters but you have a similar style, or you can have a similar style and try different subject matters or whatever, it's no level of consistency, it is going to be genuinely a challenge to really build up um what I would say is a following that will allow you to really take, not that all art should be for this, but obviously this is a art wisdom podcast about being an entrepreneur artist, right? But
Yeah.
if you really wanted to make it something that's like supports your way of life, whatever that is, pays the bills and puts food on the table, then you're gonna have to build up a following. But in order to do that, you do need to find a niche.
Yeah.
And also I think that when you find the thing that sets your soul on fire, whatever that might be, and in whatever style, even if it's clumsy at first, it takes time to develop, even when you've tried lots of different things, you got lots of different ideas, but you get hooked on one, whatever that is. you just it's like that recurring thing that it's like almost like you have to build up the muscle memory. Like learning to walk is not something that's done in one session. You're not like, right, I can walk now. It's like you've got to fall over a bunch of time. And like, I think and even now, I mean, I've seen it with your work. I've seen it with my work. Even if you've got like a similar niche, you develop and you grow with that similar niche. It's like, and you see the work at the beginning and then towards the end, and it's like, wow. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like just my style, my technique, my confidence with it, it's grown exponentially. I've learned all these new things. Whereas, and I think that's why finding a niche is also quite important, is actually to build skills in one area.
Yeah. Get really good at what you do.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, there was this story, and it was on a YouTube video called Struthless, and he does art stuff, and it was really fascinating. He was talking about building 1 million houses with only one brick versus putting 1 million bricks into one house, and then being able to look at what you've got as a result of the end of all of that work. But sometimes you have to try a few different houses before you get the right location, so it's like it is a balance.
I'm just here thinking of it, like, if to understand it, what we like to look at, that's somebody else's niche. So when we're looking at something on social media, it's like we're looking at that because we like the way this lady paints, say, and we're looking, if she all of a sudden went and did watercolors when I'm following her for oil paintings, I'm not interested in watercolors. Yeah, nice to, she might do one, I might have a little look. But if that started moving over to that kind of medium, I wouldn't be following. You've already you've built up an audience who are following you for one thing.
Yeah. It can be hard, that whole like transition. And I think we've all had that thing where we're like, not sure if I like this. I might try something new, but then it's like trying to take your audience with you. It's like, that is a challenge, I think.
Yeah, but I'm saying it more to understanding a niche. When you see somebody who's got one, and you follow it for that reason, you can go, oh yeah, you understand the consistency of that is what we like. We like consistency.
It is. And it's been, and it's great. It allows you to grow in one area. And but like I've got a guy that I follow for watercolor, actually. But was watercolor space, and I started doing landscapes, and I'm like, boo. Not got enough stars for me. But that's okay. Look, I think the more I do this, the more I realize that there's no right or wrong with art. And just because, it's like people have different tastes, and that's totally okay, but getting to grips with your own, it does take a lot of introspection. But also I think there's nothing wrong with looking at other people and finding inspiration and just trialing stuff out. I think my very first painting was because of Bob Ross. God bless everybody. All right. You got to try something to figure out if
it's you saying.
Yeah. I love him. I love all his work, and I like how easy he made it seem to paint. And that's why I honestly, I think that's probably why I started and stuck with oil paints, because I thought, I know how to do it. Because also I think this is true when you're finding your niche, and in particular when it's a style-based niche, sometimes you're turned off by something because you've not got the right technique yet, right? And it's like, oh gosh, if I came to do, I don't know why we just keep on dumping on watercolors. Maybe doing watercolors. I'm not very good at them. We're both terrible at them. Sorry if anyone's listening. Sorry, anyone that's a watercolor fan. But I tried it and I didn't enjoy it. But I recognize that part of that might be that I just have the wrong technique. I'm coming at it with so I think sometimes even when you are experimenting to figure out what your niche is, sometimes you do have to stick with it a little bit before you realize, it's really not for me, or it is. Because honestly, if I think about oil painting at the beginning, it was hard. It was so hard. I didn't know what I was doing. It was a mess. All my brushes were a mess. I was a mess. My studio was a mess. And then now it is the easiest thing. I just whoosh, and out comes an art piece. I mean, that's over. It's not like that really, but I mean, you know what I mean. But if I compare the two,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not like, you know, all the birds fly in the house and they all do the little, you know, the Snow White cleaning up and stuff for me at the end. It's not like that,
Automatic
sadly.
paintbrush.
And that would be amazing. We can dream. But I recognize that the struggle can sometimes put you off a certain thing. So it's understanding whether you don't like something because it's just you've not figured it out yet. And let's be honest, no one likes feeling bad or like they're not very good at something. No one likes feeling stupid. You know, there's all of these things that go through our heads. Like doing art is like one of those introspective things where we're all sitting there going, am I terrible? Is everything terrible? Can I do this? Am I no good? Should I even be an artist? I'm not enjoying this. You know, we all think that.
But
It's
as you
fine.
say, like it is introspective, isn't it? Because we really have to look at ourselves and go, well, what are we passionate about? What are we really interested about? And that sounds like really easy, but it can be really difficult, can't it?
Hard.
And giving ourselves permission then to be passionate about that and then start, you know, sharing our passion with other people.
So I would say doing little tutorials, going to classes, try loads of different classes. Try, if you can do in-person ones, fabulous. If you can't, there's YouTube, you know, like, and don't stick to the rules in any way, shape or form. Take the guidance and keep what you want and throw away what you don't. You know, I mean, that's very much my ethos.
I was going to say that sounds
like me. But, you know, like, because also I think there's also a thing about you don't want to be I'm going to say the word overschooled, but I don't mean it in the sense of you've had too much, like you've been to too many classes. I mean, like you paint exactly like someone has taught you. You sort of want to be able to develop it into your own thing by going, oh, I like a bit of this and I like a bit of that. So
I give yourself, that's it, give yourself permission to actually go, I've been taught like this, but I like to do this and this.
Right.
Put that in, because then that is your niche, that is you. You start to develop, you know, what you're passionate about and what makes you tick.
For sure. So like, I mean, we've got like style-based niches, and honestly, best thing, I like that Truthless guy that was talking about that one brick thing. They said just do the same thing every day and expand on it. And I thought that was fascinating. Pick something, doesn't matter what it is, and just do it every day for a couple days, right? And I think I can't remember what his was. Drawing a pigeon, probably. I think I can't remember. Sorry if anyone's watched it recently, but then he started making these into little cartoon strips and doing it. It became this whole thing.
Oh, did it?
Right, because he allowed it to, you know, he allowed it to percolate. So I think
into his own thing. I love
that. So pick something, and you know, it doesn't matter what it is. And if you decide after 2 weeks you don't like it, and you've just been consistent. I mean, consistency is a challenge, but you know, try it every day for a couple of weeks, and if it sticks, it sticks, and if it doesn't, that's okay. Let it go with love, you know. But then on the other side of the coin, you've got the style-based niches, but the psychological and the purpose and the meaning-based niches. And how do you go about working that out, Chris?
This again is what you're passionate about. You know, I'm passionate about, I've been doing personal development, business courses, building businesses, helping people. So I'm passionate about all of that. And my art is about that. My art's about positivity. So, and it's the colors that I use, they just come through me. They're not something I go, oh, what would be a positive color to use? that just flows.
It's just you, isn't it? Yeah.
And it's also with the text that I put out. You know, I want to convey joyful, happy messages. The podcast that we do, it's all about, you know, helping people in business, helping people with their art if we can. So that's sort of like the whole package, you know. And I have a style with my artwork where the palette knife is my my love to use that. So the style of my work is always the same, and then I have the messages which are me.
Yeah.
So whether anybody else is interested or likes it, or I'm being authentically me.
I like that, the concept of making art that you love. Not making art because someone else likes it, or because it's a trend, or because something else. Like, by the way, fine to try trends if you're genuinely curious about it, but don't do it because it's a trend. Do it because you're interested in it. Do it because you're like, oh, that's so beautiful, I love it, or oh, that's really like thought-provoking, I want to give it a go, right? Whatever it is. Don't necessarily do it because it's like, I realized quite recently that what artists do is we don't make wall decorations. Well, actually, that's a lie. Some of us, some do, but it's like, actually what it is a little panel of meaning. It's like a purpose. It's like, you look at that picture and it conveys the important message, whatever that is. That message might be about saving the environment. That message might be looking up to the stars. That panel might be talking about making a house happy. Right, or joyful. It's not because it fills a wall. We're not wall fillers. It's like, whatever meaning people want to look at things that mean something to them, and it might just be something like, it's just a simple, like, some people do very aggressive artwork, and that's because they want to express something that was a difficult time, whatever, however it is, whatever it is. But I also like this concept, right, is that every single art piece, even if it's not your face, is a self-portrait of your interests, your desires, your needs, your wants, your curiosities. And I like that. It's like, it's the imprint of what's going on inside a little bit. And I find that concept really fascinating. So I don't even know if that helps anyone, just knowing that fact, but do stuff that you like make art for you. And then if other,
I agree with everything you're saying, because I suppose this is the other side of it that we haven't talked about, is like, just trying to be everything to everybody. If we start doing things for us, because like in life, if we're not doing things for us that make us happy, then we're not shining, we're not, people get confused with selfish and selflessness. You're not being selfish by doing things that you like, you're being self-full. And I don't know about you, Kat, but when
wait, we have to pause there a second. That's amazing. I've never heard that before. Be self-full.
I love that saying. I love it, because I don't know, we veer on the negative so much all of the time. We go, I'm not doing that for me, I'm just selfish. And it's not, because the joy that it would bring you, what you're like when you paint the stars, the joy it brings you, how much do you shine? You just,
I love it. It's the best. But also, you're right, that it rubs off on people, and people, hopefully not the physical paint, but whatever it is you're putting out there, it's like someone's there saying, I've had a really stressful day, and I just look at these pictures and it makes me feel relaxed, or brings me joy, or it makes me feel like I'm not alone, whatever that is, however that's part.
Not even as a product, as a painting, but as the people that we are that enter the world. We're happier, more joyful. So you've got to think, doing what we love, choosing to get a niche that we're passionate about.
Like
us happy, which makes our family happy, which makes our friends happy. So like, you have a little circle that keeps growing,
right. I think also it's like, what's the thing you can't shut up about, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like,
that's it,
right? It's like, if you're being like hijacked in the back of a car and they kick you out of the car because you ain't shut up about something because you think it's amazing, that's the thing, that is it, and and like sometimes, and I know this, like, I watched that Brene Brown TED talk, right? One of her very early ones. She's amazing.
Yeah, which one did you watch?
I believe it's The Power of Vulnerability, one of her very first TED Talks.
Yeah.
And she says she goes into families. She was like, did this, I don't know if it was a radio show or a TV show or something. And she helps them come together, like warring factions. And what she found is that when people have something that's like the thing that they love, that they actually give themselves permission to do it, whatever their cause is, like the whole place becomes more harmonious, right?
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
people become happy. And she's like, one of the most significant things she said was, it's not meant to sound good to anyone. It's meant to make you feel good. She didn't say those exact words, but it's not meant to look good to anyone. It doesn't, you're like, I got a good thing. Ready for story time. One of my favorite stories, right, is the story of Tony Hawk, right? He has a very defined niche. He's a skateboarder, right? Loves being a skateboarder. He just liked being on a skateboard, a board with wheels and rolling around. He just thought it felt good. He dedicated his whole life to it because he just felt like, it wasn't high and mighty. He wasn't saving people. He wasn't doing anything extraordinary, really. He just loved the feeling, right? But he built this huge following because when you are passionate about something, whatever it is, and if you can't think of what you're passionate about right now, like think about what it was when you were like between the ages of like 6 and 12, because honestly, there's a lot of answers there in our lives. And there was this meeting with Lance Armstrong prior to him being disgraced as like this anti-doping thing for cycling, right? And he said, and at the time, obviously, Lance Armstrong had just overcome cancer, and he was doing all this work for cancer charities, sending kids for cancer care, paying for their families to fly out to be with them, paying for the medication, running these hospices, all this kind of stuff, right? Supporting research. And Tony Hawk and him were in a I don't know, we must be in a green room somewhere, and they were chatting. He's like, and Tony was like, oh man, I wish I had a life purpose like you. I wish, honestly, I just wish I had the thing, I wish I had the cancer thing, or, not like actual cancer, but, I wish I had like a purpose that was that strong, right? He's like, I'm just a guy that likes to roll around on a board with wheels. Like, that's it. I've got nothing. You've got all this purpose and this mission and this whole ethos behind your work. You've got your niche. And he said, and he turned around and the cyclist guy turned around and said, no, you've actually got you do this amazing work. And Tony was baffled. And he said, look at it this way. You have convinced a whole generation of kids to go outside and play outside, not inside. And he said, the number one cause for childhood cancer is obesity. That's the number one cause. And he said, you've probably saved more kids from cancer than I could ever in my whole career. And Tony Hawk was baffled. He had this like whole, like all his skin, all his hair stood on end because he had this like, oh shit. He just realized that actually the thing he just liked to roll, he was just a dude that liked the feeling of rolling around on a board. But actually, because he lived his passion, because he found his niche, and because he put himself out there and did it consistently, that he inspired loads of other people to follow him because he looked cool and everyone wanted to look cool like him. And then he came away from that realizing the impact he had. And I think about that a lot, right? And it made me think about that Brene Brown moment where she's like, it's not meant to sound good to other people. You might just be the person that likes to roll around on the board.
Yeah.
You might not realize the impact it has later on until you get to that point. And that's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to sound good. It just has to be the thing.
Feel good. It has to feel good to you. And then you're on the right track.
For sure.
And then what this will do as well, this is going to attract people, like-minded people to you. So that's the whole point of the niche, because we do want to sell our art.
Yes.
So it's finding the people who want to buy it, and they are in your niche because they're interested in stuff that you're interested in. The roller board guy,
Skateboard. Right.
skateboarder guy. Yeah, people loved the energy, the vibe of him, what he was
And
doing.
the passion, like
Yeah,
people are just attracted to passionate people. You could be passionate about the
yeah,
most obscure thing, really,
yeah,
but you get so good at it, you get so intricate with it, you get so into it, and you tell everyone everything about it. To the
yeah,
point where even people that aren't into it, are like, never knew that. That's quite interesting, they
yeah.
look in, and it's like,
Well,
be a passionate.
I'll take you for an example. The
Ooh.
weirdo side of Cat. You love watching cleaning videos, don't you?
I love it. Oh gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. So
Soothing.
yeah, you find it soothing. So, I would think, why in hell would somebody put a video up of them cleaning?
Right.
People, I don't know if they know or not, but that people find it soothing. So,
Yeah.
they're making a difference in maybe a way that they never thought that they would, because they think they're probably
Absolutely.
helping people, how to information on cleaning their house. But, you'll
And
find it
it's just
really
the attitude towards it, like honestly, I follow this lady called Ari Katerina, who's amazing. Go look her up
it's
on
that
YouTube.
energy as well from them.
Ah, and yeah, she's cleaning. She goes, oh, it's so dirty, it's amazing. And she cleans it up and goes, isn't that amazing? And so instead of like looking at like a messy bit of your house and being like, oh God, I feel so much a pang of shame. We've all had it. The big pile of washing that's like, you can look at it and go, oh, look at that. Let's sort it out. And it's almost like that attitude there. It's like transfers, and I feel like I hope I do that to other people with my art for the thing that I'm passionate about. And the same for you, Chris, as well. I hope so.
You
Like
hope you
that's,
spread a bit of magic, don't you? With
yeah. And same for you,
cheering people
and I
up,
think
brighten
that's
their
probably,
life.
yeah, I guess that's why we get on so well. but that's true, and I feel like whoever's watching this, whatever it is that you are passionate about, exude it. Like the art is really, honestly, the actual physical medium in some ways is just a vehicle for whatever message you're
Yeah,
passionate about.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it's just like, that's just the product, but we've got the big person behind these things.
100%. So
Yeah.
Chris, what are your top 3 takeaways?
Well, we've probably talked about a few already, but
Yeah.
number one takeaway would be enjoy what you like. Enjoy what you want to talk about. Make sure you enjoy it. As you said, I love that hostage situation. It's like, what are you going on about, that they just get her out the
Get
van.
out.
Stop talking about this. She loves this. And it doesn't matter what it is, because that is you. That is something that's being given to you to share.
Yeah.
So just start telling everybody about it, sharing, because it's just more of sharing you. And sometimes that's what we're scared of actually putting ourselves out there and exposing us, because we don't want someone to think we're silly or something. So, but if you love it enough, and you'll get an expert on it enough, because you're curious.
Yeah.
So, who doesn't want to talk to somebody who's really knowledgeable about what they're doing and is curious and wants to learn more all the time? So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And number 2 is, you can't be everything to everybody. So that's, I think, how we all start as artists, is we just want to be everything to everybody. We'll do pictures on anything. We'll see somebody else's profile and then we'll go, oh, that looks really good. Shift to that, shift to this, shift to that. But if you really get in touch with your niche, you won't even feel a desire to do that. Number 3, do great work consistently. In your niche, and people will find you. So keep doing your stuff, and
doing bad stuff too. Like, just keep on doing it. You get good eventually. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's the only way you get good. Yeah. So your top 3, Cass.
Okay. So my number 1 is, it's not like whatever niche you pick, it's not meant to look good to other people. It's meant to feel good to you. I saw this I saw a documentary about an artist, and she just focused on cracks in pavements and cracks in walls. She loved it.
Yeah.
She was all about it. It made gold castings of these cracks. It looked beautiful, fascinating, fascinating. It did all these different things. It could be as obscure as cracks in pavements. Honestly, it's not meant to look good. It's just meant to make you feel good, whatever it is, you know. And number two is just, there's nothing wrong with looking for inspiration at the beginning and trying different things. You know, like if you're not sure, just try. You know, like it's okay to give yourself permission to do random things. You might be try pottery, try glass blowing, try metalwork, try painting, try as much as you can with whatever materials and availability and access you've got. Just give it a go.
It's fun anyway to do that, isn't it? So
it's good. And you pick up things from one genre that actually, when you go into the other genre of whatever it is, you start to blend things together. And that's actually also a little bit how you form your own art style that's different from anyone else, because there's not many people that might have done these obscure practices, right? Number three is just pick something. Doesn't matter. Just pick something and expand from it, whatever it is. You know, I always say, you know, if it's the thing you can't shut up about, or it's the thing you're passionate about when you were younger, if you're like stuck on like, what do I even do now? But just try something. Honestly, it could be Tracy making hand turkeys. It could be doing cracks in pavements. Honestly,
do something.
Just try one thing and expand on it, and just try it for a couple of weeks. And that consistency, as Chris already said, it's basically the same thing as what you said, to be honest, Chris. Bit of consistency, and you will find aspects, but it might not be right. That's okay. You can try the next thing, but just give it a little time.
Yes.
So any final?
Stop it straight away. Just nice.
Any final thoughts, Chris?
No, I'd like take action.
Take some action. Yeah, for sure. Well, have you found your niche? What's your challenges you're experiencing? As always, the links are down in the description. Make sure you leave some comments and make sure you give us a follow for future episodes too. Now, in the next episode, we are going to be talking about how you can get your art seen by millions of people on Instagram and TikTok. I'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.